Hello YouTube friends, welcome back to the Last Homely Garden, and I usually start these videos for the garden outside in the garden. It's halfway through January, it's really cold. We're having a proper cold snap here. We have been promised snow, it hasn't arrived yet, but it's very frosty today and it's probably about -5 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that will be appearing on your screen now so that the people who work in Fahrenheit will know what that means. And I know that there are people over the world who are getting it a lot colder than I am here, but this is pretty cold for me. But it's also pretty cold for the birds, and that's what this video today is going to be about. I love to feed the garden birds, I really do. And I've got several little places around the garden that I like to put bird feeders. And so today I want to talk about the different kinds of bird seed I put out and why and where. And then we'll have a look at the birds that come to the feeders. But also really why it's really important. I mean, I'm cold, but I can come inside and have a hot drink and get warm. And these little birds, tiny little birds, it gets dark at around 4 o'clock and not light again until about 8 the next day. So that great big long period of time overnight, they've got to feed pretty much all day in order to be able to keep themselves alive. And so I do worry about the little birds at this time of year because I love feeding them so much. I like to feed them a different variety of foods. I'm not a great expert at this, but I just like to make sure that they've got, you know, something for everyone. And so today what I'm going to do is talk about, I use a lot of sunflower hearts. In fact, I mainly feed sunflower hearts in the garden. But today I'm going to be making some, a couple of recipes for the birds. I've got these massive pine cones. I've got 2 of them. One of them's hanging up outside already, and it's working very well indeed. And what I want to do with this today is fill it full of a mixture of seeds and crushed up peanuts. And sometimes for these sort of solid things people use fat like lard or whatever, but I'm going to use peanut butter. So I'm going to make this little one here. Now this is the second one that I've made. I don't get pine cones like this in my neck of the woods at all. This is I bought these £1 each at a craft fair in Hexham at Christmas. So in order to be able to hang this up, it needs to have a loop around the top, like that. I'm going to put it round a couple of times so that it's nice and secure. Now if you've got a pine cone but it's all closed up, just put it on top of a radiator or your wood burning stove in my case, and it will open up again beautifully because it's the heat that makes them open up. Okay, so there's my hanging string there. I'll just tie a better knot in that. And what I'm going to do with this then is, just a minute. Okay, so that's my hanging string, so that the pine cone will hang like so. And now what I'm going to do is just push peanut butter and these cracked peanuts into the spaces in this pine cone. Now it's a messy old business, so if you're doing it on your sewing table like I am, make sure that you've got a piece of newspaper down. And this is just ordinary, it's not expensive peanut butter. I just got some cheap peanut butter and cracked peanuts, and I'm just going to smash these into their spaces. It's a lovely activity to do with kids, this one. And I'm a big kid, so I'm going to enjoy myself, I think. And I made one a couple of days ago and hung it up, and I've been watching the birds on that one, and they're absolutely loving finding all the little bits of seed and the peanut butter. And so I'm making sure that I'm pushing a lot of seeds into there. These aren't seeds, these are cracked peanut. a lot of these peanuts. I'm pushing a lot into these cracks here. So I could be some time. What I'm doing at the moment then is I'm filling this half coconut shell, which did used to have bird seed in it, for this very purpose. And now that it's empty, I'm just refilling it. And then I'm going to sprinkle this stuff and press it in. And maybe some of this as well. Now that's lovely and full now. So the little birds will love this, all the tits and the finches and all of those little birds. But I have a problem in my garden with jackdaws and crows and rooks. Now, of course, they need to eat as well. But I live on a farm and there's plenty of food for them to scavenge around and about the farm without them eating my the little bird's food. So the big birds tend not to like to come near the house, whereas the little birds are fine. They're very bold and they'll come right up to the window. So I'm going to hang these two things here, right next to the house. So the big birds won't get them. If I'd hung them on the main bird feeder down the bottom of the garden, this would be emptied within a few minutes. So this will feed a lot of birds for quite a long time. I've got these fat balls here. Buy these, you could make them, but I buy these in and they go in my little fat ball feeder. But these also go on the feeder that I have on the window here next to my sewing machine. So I think what we'll do now is we'll go outside and we'll start putting these different bits and pieces of food around. There is one more bird that I like to treat, and that is the blackbird. Blackbirds tend not to go onto bird feeders that are hanging. They like to eat insects and fruits. And so I've got a couple of apples here and I'm going to cut these in half and I'm going to put these on the ground near the bird feeders. But I think we should go outside now and put all of these bits and pieces out and have a look at these birds. Oh, there is one more thing. Birds need water, of course. And the water freezes in these kinds of temperatures. And so it's hard for them to find some open water. So I'm going to put a pot outside with some stones in and fill that up with water so that they can, hopefully, if they want some, they can land on the stones and have some water. It's really important to think about these things. I mean, it'll freeze over, but I'll do my best to keep it going. I tell you, there's one more bird in the garden that needs looking after. You know who that is, don't you? Eileen the goose. We're going to have to defrost her water as well. So come on, let's go outside then. I'll get my coat on and we'll go and put these bird feeders out. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching the birds on my bird feeders in the garden. It's really cold outside, and so there's not going to be much more action in the garden for a little while, but I'll be back soon with another garden video for you. I don't post a regular schedule, so it's a good idea when you subscribe to put your notifications on. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll leave you with the birds.